police state intimidation that is being used against people who would defy whom? Defy these right-wing Republicans like Haley Barbour and Karl Rove and Dick Cheney?
And their corporate allies. I mean, it's really about corporatism versus the people.
Right.
Because Diaz, although before he was a judge as a Republican, he was very bipartisan, and he ruled a lot in favor of the plaintiffs. And Paul Minor's, legendary big tobacco, he took on the big tobacco cases, and so he's made some enemies. And he was a big Democratic fundraiser, so they needed to get him out of the way. It is very disturbing. It is police state tactics, and the fact that the way this is being done is through the U.S. Attorney's Office. And if there's a whole other layer of this, I'm not sure if we have time, but of how corrupt the actual U.S. attorneys are in both Alabama and Mississippi. The fact that they're still in office indicting people.
All right. Given the fact that this Bush organization is in its final months, and given the fact that the Justice Department, I would assume, is going to be expunged of this filth, what are they gaining in putting these people like Siegelman, like Minor, and intimidating Diaz? What have they got to gain knowing that they're soon out of office?
Well, what they had to gain at the time this all took place, it all goes back. In Siegelman, it's 2002, and Diaz, it goes back to 2000. They gained seats. The governor of Alabama now is Bob Riley, a Republican. Haley Barbour used the Diaz minor indictments to, basically call his opponent, Musgrove, who's a Democrat, basically, using it as PR, saying, look, this is the kind of people he put up, and Musgrove lost. So what they won was seats, and that's all they really cared about. And more importantly,
in other words, the consolidation of power.
That's right.
All right, let me put you on hold a second, Larisa, because we have to take a break here. We're talking about a story that not too many people are really that aware of, but the further evidence of political intimidation being used against politicians in this country to shut them up.
Faster than a flying monkey, more powerful than a special prosecutor. It's Mike Malloy on NovaM Radio.
22 past the hour. We're talking with the managing editor, I believe I've got that right, of rawstory.com, Larisa Alexandrovna. Do I have your title right?
Of investigative news, but it's okay. It's close enough.
Okay, all right. And what we're talking about is yet another example of police state tactics against politicians that honorable people that fell out of favor with this Bush crime family. How widespread is this tactic that we've heard about now, little drips and drabs? And of course, mainstream media is not going to report this because it is the corporatist media. But how widespread is this sort of thing? Here's two instances in the South. What about the rest of the country, Larisa?
Well, it's more than two. You've got the 4 people in Mississippi, the 2 people in Alabama. You've got a person in Pennsylvania. You've got 2 people in Florida, 1 person in Georgia. And those are just the ones I can rattle off the top of my head. How widespread is this? I'd say it's incredibly widespread. But what's even more disturbing is these people are fairly high profile. So we know about these cases. What about people who aren't Supreme Court justices or governors? What about, just your basic kind of Joe off the street? Those are the people that I'm really concerned about that we'll likely never know about because they have no access.
You mentioned that Paul Minor's wife has brain cancer, and it's my understanding that she is you told me that she's dying of this, and she's in her final stages. Has Minor, now Minor is in jail again. Why? And why will they not let him be with his wife?
Well, he's like Siegelman. He's not out on bail for reasons nobody can figure out.
Right.
He's in jail for he was indicted for something that wasn't a crime, basically guaranteeing a loan for a judge in an election, and that's not a crime in Mississippi. And the proof of that is that the Diaz was acquitted twice. So they couldn't prove quid pro quo. So then how is one in jail and one?
Well, what do you know what Minor was actually convicted of that put him in jail?
Well, they basically convicted him. They couldn't get him on Diaz, so they convicted him of bribing the other two judges, even though, basically the jury deadlocked several times, just like in the Siegelman case. There were two trials. I mean, it's very similar. Ultimately, he's convicted of bribery and corruption, but when you look at it, he was charged under a RICO statute because they really didn't have enough evidence.
How are these convictions obtained by the Bush Justice Department here in the South? How do they manage to get a jury to send someone, these prominent people who I think your investigation has proven that they're not guilty of what they've been charged with? How do they get the convictions then? Well,
a good example in Mississippi is that the FBI officer investigating the case, the first indictment around by the name of Michael Campbell, he basically was threatening to blow the whistle and was complaining about this. So guess where he is now? He was reassigned to Guantanamo.
Oh, this is the guy who does forensic accounting?
Right. What's he doing at Guantanamo? I don't know.
Right. Oh, my God.
Right? So then the FBI agent, Kevin Rust, who takes over, is, has very strong ties to both the U.S. attorney and Diaz's opponent in the 2000 campaign. He goes and testifies in front of the grand jury, and that's your witness. You're sitting in the jury box. Here's an FBI agent. They're telling you.
Right.
In Siegelman's case, it's even worse than that because the jury, there was evidence of jury tampering that one of the jurors brought to the judge's attention, and the judge did nothing. So I mean, that's how they're getting these convictions. Is they have their assets.
I want people to learn about these cases the same way I did, which was through your site, rawstory.com. If somebody goes to rawstory.com, will they find all this entire story, all these various chapters? You have 5 or 6 chapters on this story, and we're kind of running out of time here. So it's rawstory.com. That's where people start.
Right, front page. There's a column on the front page that special report that shows the series.
All right. And what do you see as an immediate possible outcome here? Is anything going to change, Larisa, in the next couple of weeks?
Well, I'm hoping that the people will put the same effort they did into helping Don Siegelman, into helping Paul Minor.
Paul Minor, yeah.
Because his wife is passing away while he's stuck in prison for a crime that isn't a crime. So
I hear you. Larisa, thank you. We'll talk again. I really appreciate you taking time to be on the program tonight. Thanks a lot. Rawstory.com. Check it out. We'll be right back.